Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of Impact Makers. Well, Dustin, as we come into the September here, wanted to talk about a common theme in work with firms that we have, and that is variation. Why is it so important to reduce the amount of variation we see in firms?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's a common theme, and one of the things that as we introduce the concept of Lean and Six Sigma into firms, into CPA firms, or really into any organization, and specifically this targets more of the Six Sigma methodology. The more variation that you let creep in to a process, the the better chance there is for quality errors to happen, for errors and mistakes, et cetera, for poor quality to creep into the process, because nobody has any idea what's up, what's down, et cetera. And so that's why it's really important to address the amount of variation, is because the more variation that you have, you're probably likely to see a lot of quality issues as well creep into your process, and you're going to be spending a lot more time in the review processes.
Well, another thing that comes up in conversation with this, I want to get your perspective on, is that of professional judgment. A lot of times when we're talking about variation, we're talking about quality. The concept of professional judgment comes up. How does that interplay with reducing variation, but still ensuring that quality is high?
Yep. From a CPA perspective, you use your professional judgment on a daily basis, day in, day out. That's not going away. That we look at that as different than process variation. Process variation means things like letting personal preferences creep in. Those things that only you care about. It's not adding value necessarily to a client. It's not adding value to an internal team member. Not adding value to the firm. Not really necessary from a quality perspective or to meet a professional standard. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about variation. Is more the personal preferences that creep in. Professional judgment is that goes into a CPA's work day in, day out. That's what makes them unique. That's what adds value to clients. That's great. We just want to try and reduce all that personal preference and get to more of what we call firm preferences in the process.
Yeah, and I think that's key, is finding that firm preference, because when we're talking about reducing variation, you're absolutely right. We're not talking about impacting quality in a negative way. It's actually the contrary to that. We're going to increase quality. And you need to remember, we are dealing with human beings. So the lower the chance of option, the better. And it goes back to the concept of, if you give somebody an inch, they may take a mile, right? So
that happens a lot.
Yeah. So reducing the personal preferences, reducing the variation is key if you want to increase the quality of your processes inside CPA firms.
And it'll free up time to use your professional judgment to identify additional value adds for the client. That's where you need to be using the professional judgment too.